It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, July the 8th. And like Joan Jett, I, too, like rock and roll. I really do. I don't remember a time when I didn't.
Yeah, it has its place.
Long holiday weekend. I listened to a lot of it over the weekend, a lot of the rock and roll music. Road trip down to Nashville and back. Had a great time. Made it down happily, got back happily, but along the way I remembered what humidity really feels like. Good God almighty, what a nasty thing humidity is.
Yeah.
I learned it takes 18 months to forget all about it.
All right.
18 months in Minnesota, and I forget what it's like to live in the South.
I'd rather it be 120 degrees, honestly, than 90 and humid.
Yep. However, that's interesting you say that. Here's your top 5 at 6, the things you need to know. Speaking of 120, how about 130? Because Death Valley might reach 130 degrees this next week. They hit 127 on Friday.
Yeah.
Now, yes, that is a dry heat, but there is a line where you cross where it really doesn't matter if it's dry or not. And I'd say 120 is probably that line. 130 on the way in Death Valley. That is horrific.
Yeah, that's surf of the sun kind of feeling hot. I spent a little time out in near Death Valley, very close to Death Valley, just a few miles away. You'll find the National Training Center where our troops do their desert training.
Oh, boy.
And, I think I know it got up into the 110s while we were there, but, yeah, it's hot.
That's hot.
Hot! That's pretty intense. My sister, Susan, who married a dude who works for the State Department for years, they lived in Kuwait for 4 years. And during the summer months, I remember flights could not land or take off except for between the hours of like midnight and 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the runways were too hot. They were too soft to deal with air travel. And I thought to myself, you shouldn't live there then.
No.
If you can't take off for 20 of the 24 hours a day, maybe just don't go there.
Let's be honest, if they didn't have a crap load of oil just below that sand, no one would be living there.
That's a very good
couple
point.
of camels coming and going, I think.
Get some iced tea, you're fine.
Yeah, right.
That's all it takes.
A little air.
Number 4 on the top 5 at 6. This is horrible news over the long weekend. Vikings rookie Kyrie Jackson was killed in a car crash. A cornerback, 24-year-old, just drafted this year, was back home in Maryland. He and 2 of his high school teammates, good friends, all 3 of them killed in a 3-car accident. 3:15 a.m., they're driving along, going about their own business, and somebody else at a high rate of speed is changing lanes. A car gets clipped, sends another car into the car Jackson was in. They went off the road, hit some tree stumps. It's a horrible situation. A young man with everything in front of him. My gosh. I thought about that. I think about that, I sort of should say. Like I said, I had a really long road trip over the last week, and you just see things that are. I saw 3 or 4 very close near misses.
Yeah.
All just that. People switching lanes, not looking. On the way back here Saturday, had a guy come right. I mean, I went off into the shoulder at 75 miles an hour because, dude's not looking in his mirror. He just decides to get over where I am. It happens. This is a terrible thing for, obviously, the Vikings, but far more for Jackson's family and loved ones. An awful story. On the Twins side of things, what about Jose Miranda hitting 12 straight 12 straight hits? I saw something a couple days ago about Miranda's streak, and I thought, he must have a good game with a hit streak.
Yeah,
going.
12 games in a row.
I thought, no, this was 12 at-bats in a row with a hit. It stopped at 12 on Saturday. That is a major league record. He tied a record, first player in 72 years to have 12 hits and 12 consecutive at-bats. I still can't get my head around that. I've been watching baseball my whole life. It's unfathomable for 12 straight hits to me.
No, I thought it was 12 games in a row. I think I picked it up somewhere around 10. I went, 10 in a row. That's got a nice, good little streak going there, Jose.
Nice.
And then, also found out it was games in a row, at-bats in a row. Yeah. And that's so rare that I don't ever remember hearing about it. Someone will have like 5 in a row and people will start freaking out. But I didn't even know what the Major League Baseball record was because it's so rarely talked about.
I know. When you see someone that goes 4 for 4 or 5 for 5, you just think to yourself, my God, what an amazing day. You never think it's going to transfer over to the next day and then the third Monday. Very well done there, Jose. A new survey says Americans, especially after this past weekend, thinks fireworks should be legal everywhere. 41% say yes. 35 say no. Men, of course, far more likely than women to say yes. What's the argument against? You can get them anywhere. I mean, I'm sure if you looked at a map of where they're legal and where they're not, there's no one's more than one state line away from legal fireworks.
Exactly. Well, the argument against it is mom.
Oh, there you have
any
it.
mom. Yeah. Every mom, probably.
Pretty
not
much.
Every mom, but pretty much any mom.
Moms and dog owners. I guess that would be the two groups of people who might think this is nothing we need to pursue.
I'm sure we'll talk about the guy a little bit later on that decided to set one off on his head down there in South Carolina.
Never a good. You know what?
That didn't work out.
That's not a good idea when it's literally one black cat firecracker, much less a large firework.
Didn't work out so well.
I did question the people last night that I heard 2, 3, 4 a.m. This morning at 5. I was still hearing the errant every now and again. You'd hear one go off, and I'm like, really? 4:45 a.m.
They're leftover.
I know. I was a little bummed that I was out of town over the weekend and missed the big 4th of July show in Dinkytown. I heard the fireworks were spectacular this year.
Great. Oddly enough, the horizontal approach was really, really something. Shocking. And finally, tonight at Somerset Amphitheater, REO Speedwagon and Train are kicking off the Summer Road Trip Tour. REO Speedwagon and Train, that's a whole bunch of hit songs.
Yeah, you got a bunch of them right there.
That'll do the job for you. So there you have it. There's your top 5 at 6. We've got an awful lot to get into today. At 7:50, we're going to be giving away some tickets here. The 7:50 game today. What are we playing for? Oh, I hear you wondering that. And I'll tell you what we're playing for. We're playing for tickets to the Anoka County Fair at 7:50. That's going to be exciting. And then momentarily, we're going to give you the great news. It's always a good day when Danny Trejo is in the news. And Danny Trejo is certainly in the news today in a way that I see as just completely, perfectly fitting. We'll share that story with you in a moment. Hang tight.
The KQ Morning Show is back. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good Monday morning, July the 8th, the 4th of July. Long weekend is behind us. What lies ahead? Well, the rest of the month of July, I imagine there's probably some good plans for some of us, but the fireworks hopefully are done for now. The parades, the excitement kind of dying down. There's still a little excitement out in California, though, and that's for several reasons. One, there was a 4th of July parade in a neighborhood called Sunland, Tahunga. That's in Los Angeles. They have a big 4th of July parade. That's very exciting. Not only did they have a 4th of July parade, but Danny Trejo, legendary actor, Danny Trejo, restaurateur, author, Danny Trejo and some friends were cruising through the parade in their lowriders, as one does, and when you're at a 4th of July parade, and you are Danny Trejo. And apparently, some people started pelting Danny and his buddies with water balloons.
Wrong guy.
Yeah, this is the guy. I know he's got a few years on him now, but this is the guy. Let's remember that back in the day, won the boxing championship at San Quentin.
A prison of note.
Yes.
A prison of note. You know who else is a good boxer at San Quentin? Everybody.
Yeah, everyone, literally. And I remember they asked him, or it was in that documentary, I forget the name of it, on Danny Trejo. It's definitely worth a watch. Well, what weight class? He goes, man, there weren't any weight classes. Weight class?
Doesn't matter.
It was just, you get in the ring with that guy, and away you go.
The weight classes, I couldn't wait to kick that guy's ass. That's all there was for that. Danny Trejo, to your point, he is 80 years old, but again, as you say, once a boxing champ at San Quentin, always a man you don't want to mess with.
Yeah.
Danny's not feeling good about things. So what happened was they started getting pelted with water balloons. He and his friends hopped out of their cars, and there was a full-on hook. Hands were thrown. The police got there. Nobody was ever arrested because it was, the crowd had dispersed. But Danny talking about it afterwards, it's a rough thing all around. But again, there is an element to this you'll hear him say that definitely was a bit of a tipping point.
I'm so sad that I behaved the way I behaved. I'm so sad that grown men got to throw water balloons. I don't think I would have even got out of the car if somebody hadn't yelled, it's acid. I immediately got out to look at the hood, and then when I got out of the car, I looked, boom, then a balloon hit me, and then I looked up and I see a guy. I don't know, what in the hell is wrong with you? So when he grabbed me, I stepped back and I fell off the curb. I'm sad. Yeah. I'm just sad that there's still people like from the 50s and 60s that still feel the same way because no one else was targeted.
Come on, you got a classic lowrider in a parade. That's the last thing you want is to get water on it.
I would be embarrassed. I attacked an 80-year-old man, and he's still talking and laughing.
Somebody screamed out, "It's acid." So
that person right there, yeah.
So imagining that someone is throwing acid at you. Now, when I first heard that story, of course, I immediately think LSD, and then I realized after listening, no, he just means like acid that's going to ruin the paint on the car.
I think probably acid might eat through a rubber balloon, but hey, listen, it's in the heat of the moment.
You never know,
right? You never know.
I don't think anything anymore about when I don't imagine I know anything about science anymore after watching that Breaking Bad episode where the acid melted through the bathtub, but not the plastic tub. I don't know. I just realized I should have paid more attention in science class. But I can tell you this: I have had somebody walked up to me at a gig once at a festival show and with a spray bottle and sprayed right on my arm. And said, "Have a good trip, dude," as if he was spraying liquid LSD on people that were walking by. And I responded by grabbing the guy, and I said, "If this is LSD, you're having a worse trip than me, dude." Right. And he's like, "I'm kidding. It's just water. I swear to God. I swear to God." I was ready to absolutely throttle him.
That's quite a sense of humor.
And I said, "This is not the way."
Yeah.
Because the reason I was so freaked out, someone did that actually to a member of my band at a festival we were playing, and he walked on stage tripping balls, because someone literally squirted him with acid.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. That's a real thing.
It is a real thing. And I love those people that, hey, listen, I have a twisted sense of humor. I'll admit that right here, right now on the air. But those people that think that yelling acid, that's acid balloons, or, trying to harm people is kind of funny. Yeah, no, not so much. I mean, let's put it this way. You're going to get your ass kicked most of the time.
Pretty much. And you're not asking for it. You're begging for it.
And I did not know that lowriders, the worst thing that can happen to them is that they get wet.
Apparently, water and lowriders.
Yeah.
Well, California, they don't
dry
rain
cleaning?
Much. They're just not used to it, I guess.
Right.
Another interesting celebrity note from the last few days: Kevin Bacon. Who doesn't like Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, it's not the list. Yeah.
Anybody who starts their career in Animal House, you got to feel good about him forever. Nothing to see here. In an interview, he said not that long ago, he got a special effects makeup artist to put together a disguise for him, a prosthetic disguise that truly was a true disguise. Not one person could look at him, not even his family, and realize, oh, that's Kevin Bacon. He looked like a normal person, but not like Kevin Bacon. And he spent an entire day, not a week or a month. He spent one day out in public going about his business, going to the store. He got a cup of coffee. He went to the grocery store. He went into a department store. And he wanted to see what it was like to spend a day not being recognized, not being famous, because he's 40 plus years of being recognizable now.
Yeah.
And what he came back and said was, oh, it just absolutely sucked.
Well, sorry.
He said, I had to wait in line to, buy a coffee.
Oh, poor baby.
I thought, this sucks. No one said, hey, I love you, man. Hey, what's up, man? People were pushing right past me. No one was being nice.
Can you imagine stepping out your front door, going about your day, and not having one person saying, I love you, man? Wait. That would be every day. I've always interpreted that like this. I go about my business and people don't come up and talk to me about how great I am, and I think that's because they love me so much they're respecting my privacy.
Right, give you space.
I assume that the entire Twin Cities extended area all said, let's just give Steve his peace.
Yeah.
That's what I think when I go about my day without being noticed.
Well, was he being facetious?
A little bit tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, I mean, it was. He was like... but at the same time, it's one of those, you got to really, that's again, say it in a tone of voice that people realize you're kind of making fun of yourself, but you have to know it's going to go in print. And most people are reading this going, what the hell's wrong with this guy?
Bacon.
Right. To what purpose? Why did he do this? Is it being part of a punk TV show type thing?
No, I think it was honestly, he just
got bored.
He has enough time in a day to think about him and his experience and how could I change my experience and what was it like before I was Kevin Bacon in all caps? I'm not really sure. I do
want to
remember.
throw a water balloon at him all of a sudden.
What if they did? What if that water balloon really was acid? And what if it disfigured him and then he spent the rest of his life not being recognizable as Kevin Bacon? Now that would be the button on a story.
Now it's turning into a strip.
Oh, baby. Anyway, yeah. Okay, Kev.
It's not so bad, buddy.
Now he knows what it's like to be his brother.
That's what I was just trying to think about how we could work the Bacon brother into this. I love that they're called the Bacon Brothers because really there's just the Bacon brother. There's Kevin and then there's the brother.
Yeah.
If that guy should go out, he should do his own record as the Bacon brother. I'm just saying, everybody would know exactly. If you heard there's a new artist, he's got a great song. Up next, the new hit from the Bacon brother, you would know who that was. You wouldn't have to question it. It's not Kevin. He's Kevin Bacon. The other guy, that's the Bacon brother. That's how that goes. I wonder if Mike Evans has any thoughts on Kevin Bacon. We'll see. Mike Evans' Hollywood Report coming up. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good Monday morning, July the 8th. Hope everybody had a great extended weekend. In the meantime, there is Hollywood news to catch up on. It's time for Mike Evans.
Hey, good morning, Minneapolis, St. Paul, KQ listeners. Good morning, Steve and Zap and Tony. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July long weekend. We start off with some love nuggets, and the first one is a biggie. Is it true? Barring any major changes in the relationship, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are planning on getting married after the 2025 football season. You heard it here first. More, you heard it here first. You know, I told you months ago that while trying to keep it on the down low, that Brad Pitt and Ines de Ramon are basically living together. Well, this weekend, for the first time out in public, spotted holding hands, even sneaking a kiss at the British Grand Prix. Not nearly as exciting, another love nugget, Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly, on again, off again, on again, engaged, off again. It's on again. I don't know that anybody really cares, but I thought I would share with you. TV news. Boy, there is more blowback against the BET television network due to them honoring O.J. Simpson in their memoriam part of the BET award show last week. And it is true. Some sponsors have pulled advertising. What were they thinking, honoring a double murder? Really? Come on now. More TV scoop with Katy Perry out as the American Idol third judge. Her replacement has been narrowed down to Pink and Miley Cyrus. Pink and Miley Cyrus. Getting ready for the Olympics, and the Peacock Network will basically be covering the Olympics like 24/7. And the main host anchor will be Al Michaels. And let's get back to the Mike Evans way back machine. I first met Al Michaels in Hawaii when he was the play-by-play guy for the Hawaiian Islander minor league baseball team. And boy, that was a long, long time ago. Crime news. Authorities are concentrating on sex trafficking. Sex trafficking. Not rape or sexual assault charges against P. Diddy. And the word is the grand jury will get the case as this week as well. Odds and ends, setting the record straight. You know, Ellen DeGeneres had announced a comeback starting with a 25-city stand-up comedy concert tour. Well, the problem is no ticket sales. Already several cities have canceled. And Ellen's reputation of being mean, I don't think that's exactly fair. She's more impolite, cold, narcissistic, and rude. Not really mean. And I hate to report this, but Willie Nelson is still in seclusion, still ailing. We certainly wish him the best. Hey, have a great day, everybody. We'll do it again tomorrow. Mike Evans, see ya.
Willie Nelson was on stage in Philadelphia Friday night, putting on a hell of a show. Not quite
Yeah,
sure.
but by himself in front of that microphone. Was he with other people?
Like 28,000 people.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. In seclusion with 28,000 people.
Interesting. There you have it. Well, you know what? Let's.
You're being mean.
As long as no,
Impolite.
I'm being
sorry.
impolite and narcissistic. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good Monday morning. It is July the 8th. Billy Squires, The Stroke, my 11th grade soccer team's theme song. That's what we sang before every game. Yeah. So we just get in a circle and all start singing The Stroke. And everybody would kind of laugh. And then occasionally I have to imagine a few parents would go, What are they saying? What's happening? Stroke me.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Mom.
What are you going to do? You know, you need a theme song sometimes. And every now and again, there's Billy Squire to the rescue. A little less than an hour from now at 7:50. You want to get rescued? How about playing yourself a game called Beat the Toaster? Yeah, that's right. Monday morning, 7:50 game, Beat the Toaster. We're giving away tickets to the Anoka County Fair. Holy crap, it's going to be fun. I'm looking
For
forward
us,
to it.
listening to you sweat it out.
That's exactly right. That's our idea of fun around here. UltimateClassicRock.com is a website that features stories and insight into, wait for it, classic rock. UltimateClassicRock.com has a list of the top 50 American rock albums ever to help keep it all straight for you. Now, these lists exist solely for people like us to argue about them. But it is kind of interesting. I was surprised at how many times I went, huh? I mean, I expect all the usual suspects to be in there, but there were a few real head scratchers to me. I don't see anywhere in the top 50 a single album by Journey, which is, unmistakably and inarguably one of the biggest American bands of all time. They're 50-plus years in.
Yeah.
And they were already doing well before Steve Perry. Then, of course, they went to the moon with Steve Perry.
You got to put Escape on there, man. There's 5 hits on there.
Yeah, Steve Perry's name, his voice still rings out, still matters. And it matters so much that a woman in Ohio who's 75 years old, when she heard from Steve Perry, was just beside herself with joy. Oh, my God, I've been contacted online by Steve Perry, the former lead singer of Journey. Well, as it turns out, it wasn't Steve Perry, but get this. Hang on. It was someone pretending to be Steve Perry.
Okay. Almost as good.
I thought maybe it was a Steve Perry.
Yeah. No, this Steve Perry was interacting online with a woman in Westlake, Ohio. It's a Cleveland suburb. Again, a 75-year-old woman. He let her know that he had a business opportunity, as well as I have a need. I need a woman in my life, and I think that might be you. Over a few months, she ended up helping him out with this business opportunity because Steve Perry apparently doesn't get royalties anymore. She wired him $72,000 US.
Oh, God.
Oh, darling.
$72,000 along with gift cards totaling $50,000. That's 122 gur. That's a lot of money to be shelling out to Steve Perry.
Right.
Especially when it's not Steve Perry.
How much money can you get on a gift card? I mean, the most I've ever put on one is probably 20, maybe 50 if it was Dad's Cabela's annual Christmas card. I might have kicked in a few more bucks, but $50,000 in gift cards for Steve Perry.
Yeah. Well, the light bulb went off in her own words. I realized this might be a little weird when he asked me for photos of my passport and driver's license.
That was the point.
That's what tipped you over. Not how about $122,000, please?
Well, there's one born every second or minute. I forgot what it was. Second by now, I think.
Other artists who have had people pretending to be them who have bilked fans for a lot of money. It's a long list. David Crosby, David Lee Roth, Richie Blackmore, Peter Criss, Eric Clapton, and Bryan Adams. Now, if Peter Criss asked me for money, I might believe that.
Yeah, all right. He seems down and out in his luck.
Just saying.
Yeah.
The rest of these guys, come on. I mean, they got enough pocket change in the sofa to get through another couple of years of life.
Wouldn't you want some return on that? Say, Steve, I've got a 70 large here for you, 70,000, willing to make the wire, but I'm going to need a personal appearance. I'm going to want to see you in person. Let's get together.
I would think so.
I want an autographed Steve Perry koozie.
Let that be the line, okay? Just anyone listening. If you're contacted by your favorite rock star and they're asking you for anywhere between, say, 70 and 120 grand,
yes,
meet them in person first. Just meet him in person first. That's it. Just say, hey, let's get together. I'll bring you the check and I'll hand it to your face in a public place.
I can't imagine anyone, not even my kid, getting a hold of me and wanting me to wire money, and I'd wire money just, anonymously like that. I mean, in other words, without having made personal contact with them. But, this is a very lonely person, and I hope she had the money to spare. I hope it wasn't her last $100,000 she ended up blowing on this.
I have this weird thought where I'm just, wouldn't it be great if Steve Perry read this story and was like, you know what? I'll take a trip to Cleveland. I'll go hang out. Go sing a song in her kitchen. I got $122,000 laying around.
Doesn't end like that. No,
I don't think so.
No.
Not yet, Steve. Not yet.
You're only encouraging it then.
There's still a chance to make this right, Steve Perry, like it's his fault. I'm sure you're familiar with the Bon Jovi song Runaway. I'm sure you probably remember the Julia Roberts film Runaway Bride. What about the Runaway Boat? Hang tight. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, July the 8th. This is a great time of year to get out on the boat, whatever boat you got, yours, your friends, rent one, have a good time out there on the water. Get out there on the water in the summer months. And that's exactly what happens up in Guilford, New Hampshire. Lake Winnipesaukee. Ever heard of it?
I have heard of Lake Winnipesaukee. That one, that's not even in Minnesota. I've heard of it.
Everybody knows Lake Winnipesaukee, New Hampshire, in large part because of What About Bob, the Bill Murray vehicle, the Richard Dreyfuss Bill Murray movie from back in the day. Just about as good as it gets, in my opinion. Dreyfuss, boy, he can wind you up with the best of them in that one. It's a great movie. They're up, of course, at Lake Winnipesaukee, which when I saw that movie, I remember thinking, is that a real place?
I will go sailing. Yeah, let's go sailing. I have no other plans.
I have no other plans.
I'm sailing.
He's like strapped to the mast, like duct taped in, and he's sailing. Bill Murray, completely out of his mind in that movie. Well, in the real Lake Winnipesaukee over last week during the long holiday, there was a sailing lesson happening. A local sailing association. There was an operator in a little boat, in a motorboat, not a sailboat. He was mid-lesson. He was teaching children how to sail. I'm sorry, the sailboat was. And dude reached for a tennis ball. He used it to teach turning on some level. As he went for it, one of the kids' little boats tipped over. That mast hit the instructor's throttle and sent him flying into the water and his boat in a spiral. Just a little motorboat in a spiral surrounded by sailboats, just with no one on board. And it's just doing these. It's like doing donuts in a parking lot, if you will. But on the lake. And, these things happen occasionally. Yeah. The difference with this one is there was video, and there was a 17-year-old kid who was not content to watch it go down. He and his dad hopped onto a jet ski and got right up next to the boat as it's circling very rapidly. And the kid times it perfectly, leaps from the jet ski, flies like Batman, lands in the boat, and disaster is averted.
To the rescue.
Here's the kid.
And I looked up and I could see this boat circling. And then, of course, looked at the boat and there's nobody in it. If that boat was circling like that, it could have hit somebody.
So he jumped on his boat, told me to get on the jet ski to go get the kids out of the way. It just came to me. I didn't really think. I just did it. I'm realizing what I did. It scared me a little bit, but it was fun.
Oh, man, that's Hollywood stunt movies. It's our stuntman stuff right there, hopping off the jet ski. Now, I have, on a couple of occasions, thought I might attempt this out on Minnetonka, one of our fine lakes here in Minnesota, on the jet ski, jumping into the boat. Guys, I'm going to come up to next to your boat. I'm going to jump from my jet ski into your boat. But I wasn't quite drunk enough. I was drunk enough to have the idea, but not drunk enough to give me that third testicle I needed to make the leap. And because I got up there next to me, and you're going probably only about 15, 20 miles an hour. And I'm looking, I'm like, I'm not quite drunk enough. I think I would feel this when I came up short. So I've never done it, but good for that kid. And there were some other kids on the boat, right? Because the instructor got knocked off the boat by the freak accident, right? Yep. All right, that's some hero stuff there, kid. He's got a story when he gets back to school.
I like you being drunk enough to have the idea, but not drunk enough to realize you're not drunk enough to do it.
Right.
That's it's like a dog chasing its tail sort of vibe.
That's probably why I'm still on Earth.
Not a lot of jet ski activity in my life. I have done the wave runner, the bigger ones, because I've never done it on lakes. I've done it like in the ocean, and much harder, at least initially, because you got waves to deal with.
And I was talking about a jet ski. I was in fact on a wave runner.
Oh, okay.
When I was talking about doing that, there is a difference, and I just tend to call them. It's like the Kleenex, as the nose tissue.
But the first time I did a jet ski, that's the one where you are squat. You're not sitting. You're up on your feet.
Yes.
And you're standing. I did one of those in 1993 on the Atlantic coast in South Georgia, and on a wavy day, and I rode around on that thing for 30 minutes, and at the time of my life. And I am not exaggerating when I say, when I got off that jet ski, I could not walk. I kid you not. My legs were so fried.
Yeah.
Every muscle in both of my legs was in a state of complete. Like, my legs felt like they were made of steel, but they couldn't function. They were so overwrought and overmatched. And I was laying on the beach, and Rosemary's like, "Let's go." And I'm like, look at him, like, I can't. I can't walk. So what are you talking about?
I gave it all, babe.
I go, I'm dead serious. I can't stand up. And she's like, it took her 5 minutes to accept that I wasn't trying to be funny. I'm like, there's nothing funny about me crawling without the use of my legs. I can't get. And then she stood me, helped me stand up, and I truly just fell down. Like, my legs were in shock.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was still like playing basketball a lot then too. And I was like, I thought I was in bad shape. I'm not even in bad shape. I'm in whatever's way worse than bad shape.
You don't use the jet ski muscles usually. That's a whole different muscle group. And then you've got the adrenaline out there and the waves, and you're so focused and in it and having such a blast. And then, when you're done, your body, that adrenaline goes down and your body just shuts off those limbs.
I did a wave runner once in Miami. Had a day off on tour, and me and my bass player and a member of our crew and one of the promoter staff, 4 of us got wave runners, Miami Beach. And we got on these wave runners. It was a very calm day. Easy. Those, bigger boat, bigger machine. We're sitting down. And Ray Compton, the tour accountant for the promoter, he looked at us. He goes, "Okay, guys, it's ocean chicken." And we're like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Just go directly in a straight line away from the beach and see who will hold out the longest." Not a smart thing for a bunch of dudes in a rock band in their late 20s on a day off in Miami. I'm like, I'm not chickening out. And I've told this story, and people think I'm exaggerating. 4 of us, tear away, shoulder to shoulder to shoulder to shoulder, in a straight line away from the water, and we're going and we're going and we're going. And when you see oil tankers off the shore just sitting out there, we went past an oil tanker.
Oh my gosh.
And when we finally stopped and turned around, we could barely, you could see buildings like giant hotels on the beach. No clue as to which one was ours or anything. We were miles offshore.
Freaky.
And all of a sudden it went from we're cool to we were all half in the bag, of course, to do this. Terrified.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell did we just do? And to get back to shore, it felt like it took 30 minutes. Like, didn't even notice on the way out. We're like laughing, all right. And we got back, and as we're getting closer, and then the buildings are getting clearer, and we were like, okay, there's our hotel. We're way south of it, and we're all kind of angling back. And we turned back in. I mean, like, we rented them for like an hour. The entire hour was one round trip out. We got back, seriously, and our time was up, and we were like, what the hell is wrong with us?
So you admitted you were terrified.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's cool.
All but soiled myself.
If you had run out of gas or there had been a mechanical failure, of course you're out past, you're in Riptide territory now. You would have ended up in Cuba, most likely.
If we're
on
lucky,
your way.
as opposed to heading over to Spain, North Africa.
Right, you are on your way. Growing up in lakes, I'm a Midwest kid, grew up on lakes, and I remember the first time I was out on a boat doing some deep sea fishing, so I'm on a boat. But I remember the first time I looked back and couldn't see shore. And I was like, I had no idea. No one ever explained to me that was going to be a freaky experience, but I was freaked out. And if I would have been on a wave runner, because I've conked out in wave runners more times than I can count, like 4 or 5.
Sure.
I mean, obviously I can count that, but I can't easily remember how many times I've just been out in the middle of Minnetonka waving boats down going, there's something wrong with this piece of crap that I borrowed from my buddy. It's not going anymore, and they toss me the old line, and tow me in. But out there in the ocean, man, that's a whole thing.
It's a whole nother thing. Brownsville, Texas is at the bottom on the Gulf side of Texas, south of Corpus Corpus Christi and Houston, right at the Mexican border, as far as you can go in Texas. For the
Hurricane
most part,
path.
Brownsville, Texas. And off the coast of Brownsville is South Padre Island. I've never been to that area. I've been to Corpus Christi. That's as far as I've gone. But I've heard South Padre Island, gorgeous, beautiful little thin island off the coast. Big beach place.
Sure.
A lot of people
Big
there.
spring break.
Spring break, yeah.
Yep. July 4th on South Padre Island, a bunch of people in the water swimming, and a woman from North Texas noticed what she said initially is just a big, huge fish coming by. Well, it wasn't necessarily just a fish. Well, it was a fish, but it was a shark, and it went in on her leg hard. Her husband ran out to try to fight this thing off. He was also bitten. Several other people all came in. She's going to be okay, but she's not feeling
some
good.
audio.
Yeah, but by okay, I mean she's going to live, certainly.
Yeah, no kidding. These were bull sharks. Again, we've talked about these. Hey, it's Shark Week begins today.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Shark Week on Discovery. And the bull sharks are number one as far as, terrorizing human beings, killing, shark attacks. They're right up there because they'll attack and eat anything. They just bite.
Yeah.
That's what they are. They're just biters and eaters. And
oddly enough, the great white shark that we're all terrified of, a more discerning animal
They want
in
a
terms
seal.
of what it's going to bite.
They just think you're a frickin' seal. They usually, when they bite a human being, it's almost always a mistake. In fact, this audio was from last week. Some people, we talk about being out in the ocean, being different than being on a lake in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Can you imagine seeing something so big like this in the water? They thought they saw a whale.
That is a shark.
No, it's a whale.
It's a shark.
That is a whale. Oh my God, that is a freaking shark.
That's a great white shark.
That is a shark like I've never seen.
Yeah, there's two. That's a 20-foot great white shark coming at us.
Off the coast of Massachusetts.
Yeah, that one up in Mass. Yeah, a little too close to Jaws territory. What was that, Amityville Island?
Amityville.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
No kidding.
Amity Island.
And so now in South Padre, there were 4 people that were attacked all in total. No one killed. I don't believe anyone lost a limb, unlike that teenage girl in northern Florida on the west side. There in the Gulf as well. What was that, a couple of weeks ago?
Yep, and the Panhandle of Florida. The entire Gulf, every beach along the entire Florida Panhandle has been closed for a couple of weeks because of two things: sea life, but riptides. Like 30A, that strip of beaches in Florida, the Panhandle. I've talked about it. Rosemary Beach is one. Seacrest. If you ever saw the Truman Show, the town where he lives, Jim Carrey in the Truman Show, it just looks like a movie set. All the houses are so cute and adorable, and everything's perfectly manicured. That's a real town in Florida. There's a whole series of beach towns that look like that. White sand, clear water.
Flagler.
The Florida Panhandle is incredible. It's beautiful. And literally, for 4th of July week, nobody was allowed in the water for a stretch of hundreds of miles because of the riptides.
Yeah.
All those families down there for the 4th of July week, and nobody can get in the water on any beach. Beach after beach after beach. I saw a map of riptide closures. It was the entire strip.
Water parks were killing it.
Man, weren't they?
The hotel
Can you
pool
imagine that?
kids. Yeah, no, in fact, last time I was down in Florida, they had a riptide, sort of like you have avalanche warnings when you're out at ski areas out in the Rockies.
Yeah.
They have riptide warnings out there where apparently if you wander in chest deep, it will just suck you a mile out into the ocean in a heartbeat.
I saw a report on one of the morning news shows over the weekend where they had a guy out on the coast of California, but they were talking about, this is where I saw that all the beaches were closed on the Gulf side. They were discussing riptides and what to do. And, they say just turn on your back and float. Don't fight the riptide. Let it take you where it's going to take you.
Yeah.
And then eventually, when you come to a clearance, when it stops swirling, you can swim at a diagonal angle towards the beach. They're going through the whole thing. They had a lifeguard from Newport Beach, California, like Orange County, Baywatch area, full-time professional dude lifeguard guy. And they dropped him out in the middle of a riptide and just said, okay, swim through it to show. This guy could go swim the English Channel is what he looks like. But he swam against this thing for like 15 minutes, and he was completely exhausted.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who swims for a living, basically. He's a real lifeguard. And the whole point was, this guy ain't going to get out of this, so you certainly aren't. And the idea of just, if you feel that thing pulling you, just get on your back and lay there and don't fight it. That's got to be one of the hardest things imaginable to do.
Terrifying. Yeah, you can't
Trust that
swim
you can just float out of
towards shore
No.
You're right. You have to go diagonally or horizontally.
Yeah.
Until you get out of the tide.
We were at one of those beaches on the Florida Panhandle a few years ago, and my daughter she brought a friend with her for a long weekend stay, and they got some of those what are they called? The wakeboards where you stand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They got a couple of those, and they went out, and this is like a lake. There's hardly any waves, low tide, real calm. Mm-hmm. But I watched them go out, and I'm like, that's so cool. And I shut my eyes, and I opened my eyes, and they were way out there. And I was like, that's way too far. And I'm waving my arms, and she's not paying attention. And I thought, well, I'm just going to run out there. I could go pretty far where it's only waist deep, and then I'm just going to swim, and I'm going to get close enough where they can hear me, and then I'm going to whistle, and I'm going to say, get your ass back to shore. You don't realize how out of swim shape you are when you haven't been swimming for 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
I put my head, and I've been a swimmer my whole life, and I went 60 seconds and thought, just kill me right now.
Yeah.
My body does not want me to swim. And I got close enough where they could hear me whistling. That's as close as I got. And I was like, just get in here. And then they of course start paddling in, and they're in within a few minutes. I mean, within a few seconds, it felt like. But yeah, that's a hard lesson. Like, oh yeah, I haven't really been swimming for a long time, and it's over.
I mean, even when I was young, I tried to swim across Nokomis one time. I'm like, of course I can swim across Nokomis. No big deal. It's right over there.
Yeah.
And I think I came in floating on my back into some reeds over there about like an hour later, but it was humbling to say the least. I remember going down to Lifetime Fitness and going, you know what, I'm going to get into shape by swimming laps. I see people swimming laps. Yeah. I didn't even make it a half lap. I had to stop and catch my breath.
I did the same thing in my late 30s. Did the same thing. Went to the Y, and I was like, man, everybody I know that swims is just... And I went up and down maybe did 4 lengths, and it took forever.
I didn't even do 4.
And I was like, wait a minute, I used to swim all the time. What is happening? And it just, I realized then, like, no, I'm not doing this. I'll float and I'll bob, but swimming is that's in the rear view for me. Hey, KQ's Rock the Boat 80s Cruise is headed to Stillwater Friday, July 26th. Stillwater Riverboats featuring live music from Rough House Rocks, drinks with the KQ crew, and free food. You can pick up tickets right now at 92kqrs.com. The Rock the Boat 80s Cruise, sponsored by Hoffman Weber Construction. Again, go to our website, 92kqrs.com, and buy your tickets. Or, if you don't want to pay for tickets, what might you be able to do, Brian?
You might just be able to win a pair of tickets right now if you're caller 9 or 2-651-989-ROCK. We're playing for those Anoka County Fair tickets, and you're going to have to beat that damn toaster. Tony's got it all polished up and ready to go. Thank you to the Anoka County Fair for the tickets. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck, and hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Monday, July the 8th. Good Morgen, as they say in Germany. The Anoka County Fair is coming up. It's going to be running July 23rd through July 28th. Never a bad time when you're in Anoka, but if the county fair's up and rocking, even probably better than usual. And we would love to send a listener to the Anoka County Fair. We got a couple tickets on the table right here, and we are going to ask that a couple of contestants compete for these tickets. And as it's Monday, oh, baby, it's kind of special. We like to involve bread and heat, and crunchy toast is the result. Tony, lay it on me.
Let's toast it up, baby.
Wakey, wakey, eggs and bacon.
Toast. Toast. Toast.
I would like toast.
Toast.
Who wants toast? I love toast.
When this guy put some bread in a toaster, you won't believe what happened next.
You've got bread and a toaster of some kind.
You make me a grilled cheese sandwich.
Your breakfast is ready.
I didn't hear a ding.
The KQ Morning Show presents...
All we need to do is beat the toaster.
Beat the toaster.
It's a game show. Beat the toaster.
Breakfast is ready.
It's time to beat the toaster. You know it, you love it, you might even fear it. Here's what we do. We pop a nice slice of bread into the toaster. It's right here in the studio. And we give you a category, then you name as many things that pop into your head as possible in 15 seconds before the toast pops. Today it's a lovely pumpernickel.
Nice. I like that. Big big fan of pumpernickel. Although, I'm also a big fan of the gata. That's from, never mind, I'm not going to. I just Googled rare bread forms. I don't even want to run down that shit.
Rare bread.
Like unusual types of bread. Nah, screw it. I love me some pumpernickel. All right, we're going to play Beat the Toaster. We got Anoka County Fair tickets on the table. Tony, who's contestant number one?
Number one should be our buddy Rand.
Rand, good morning.
Good morning, people. How are you guys doing today?
We're all great over here. Thank you, brother. Are you interested in well, let me ask you this, Rand. Do you like toast?
Love toast.
Attaboy. Do you like county fairs?
I've been to a few, yes.
All right. Well,
never the Anoka County Fair, though.
All right. Well, if you play your cards right, you'll go to the Anoka County Fair, and hopefully you'll, for good luck, you put a piece of toast in your pocket, and maybe you go, hit a free throw and win a teddy bear for a pretty girl. All right.
I appreciate it.
Miracles never cease.
Oh, by the way, I got you said the Amityville for Jaws. It's Amity Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, just Amity.
Damn it.
I went with the whole Ville, right?
Yeah,
just Amity Island.
The Amity Island horror, not to be confused with the Amityville
Rand,
horror.
thank you for correcting us. People love to be corrected.
You are so welcome.
You got it. Rand, good luck to you, sir. It's time to play Beat the Toaster round one.
Here we go, Rand, my man. What we're going to ask you is to name things commonly known for being made of wood. Go.
A bench, a table, with a house, oh boy, I'm going blank here with wood. A cane.
Right.
Yeah.
Cane in there, yeah.
That's it. The toast has popped.
Toast is popped, brother.
Okay.
Bench, table, house, cane. We got 4.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Rand. Round one. It's usually it's an easier round, but you're not warmed up, so it's
that's right.
It's a little tough, but hey, man, solid effort.
Yeah.
We're gonna put you on hold for a second, and we'll go to contestant number 2 for their first crack at it. Tony, who's contestant number 2?
Our buddy from Schaefer. Here comes Justin.
Justin, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm great, thank you, brother. Do you like toast?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Been toasted?
Thank goodness.
I'm waiting for someone to go, nope, just
Hate
bread.
it.
Hate it.
Yeah.
Well, all right then. Well, you know what we're doing. We're playing Beat the Toaster, and there's Anoka County Fair tickets right here in the offering, sir, so I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Take it, Tony.
Justin, there's no denying that cake is yummy, right? But what are some things that will never be very good if they're covered with frosting? Go.
Sardines, steak, rutabagas, spinach, asparagus, frosting. Oh, shoot. Beer.
Little beer frosting.
Yeah. All right.
Rutabagas.
I believe we got 6 there.
Yep.
Yes.
And the first time in my 34-year radio career, someone has said rutabagas.
Rutabagas. Yeah.
I love it.
Well, they made it cute.
All right, Justin, 6 is a solid start to the day. We're going to put you on hold now. We're going back over to Rand for round number 2. Rand, good luck, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Rand, you're thinking, hey, I need to improve my axe throwing skills, right? But you need a proper practice area. Where should you probably not be doing any axe throwing? Go.
Alrighty. In your front lawn, in a store, in a movie theater, in a bathroom, in your car, on a train, in a bus.
You got the car in there.
In an airplane.
Right.
It was turning into like a green eggs and ham. I would not, could not in a car. I would not, could not in a train. Front lawn, store, movie, bathroom, car. I got 5. Does that sound about right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right, Rand, you have a total of 9, brother. I'm sorry, train came in after the bell. But 9 is a solid piece of work right there. But it's time to go back to round 2 for Justin. Justin, you're sitting on 6. If you get 3, you have a tie, and we move to a tiebreaker. 4 is going to win you the tickets. Good luck. You still with us, Justin?
Yeah, hold on one second.
I think you got caught.
Can you hear me now?
We
Sorry, I
can
had a
hear you.
signal.
Yep, yeah, we can hold on. It's just live radio. Okay, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
That's much better. Okay, Justin, this is a little odd, but listen, you're going to make and grill shish kebabs made up of actual bobs, famous bobs. Name some famous bobs that you're going to stick through with a skewer. Go.
Bob Marley, Bob Dylan, Bob Saget,
Oh, man. You got some good ones.
I'm sorry to say that Bob isn't acceptable. You got Marley, Dylan coming in strong right out of the gate, and then Saget, and then I was waiting for Newhart myself.
Yeah, Bob Newhart would have been a good one.
No, Newhart would be great, man. Just put a little barbecue sauce there on.
He'd stammer.
So you needed 4 to win. You got 3, which means, gentlemen, we have a tie. You're both sitting at 9. So first things first, well played for both of you. It's now time for a tiebreaker. How this works: Tony Lee will ask a question, and you will both give an answer. Closest to the right answer is going to win the tickets. Rand will ask you to answer first, and then we will go to Justin. Good luck, gentlemen.
All right, fellas, your question is, what is the average size of the average American lawn in feet, square feet?
Oh, boy.
Let's go 35 by 60.
35 by 60. So how many
Well,
square
like total,
feet is that?
yeah, total square feet.
Total yards?
Square feet.
Yeah, we're not doing math here.
Square feet, baby.
Square feet. Well, let's go with 1,300 feet.
Okay.
1,300 square feet is the average American lawn, according to Rand. Okay, Justin, I assume you heard the question?
No, we'll probably got to repeat it for Justin.
All right,
Okay.
Justin.
Justin, the size of the average American lawn in square feet. How many feet is the size of the average American lawn?
50,000.
50K without hesitation from Justin. I like it. 1,300 or 50K? Who's closest, Tony?
Quite a range. The answer is 5,500 square feet.
Okay, so that means Rand. Rand, you, my friend, are much closer. You're with 1,300, so congratulations. You've got the tickets. Justin, very well played,
Appreciate
brother.
it. Thank you.
Justin, well done. Not quite enough this time, but thanks for calling in and competing. Gentlemen, the toast is ready. We're going to enjoy it now. Thank you both.
A football field is about 55,000 square feet.
You don't say.
Yeah. 50, a little more than that, I would think.
That'd be a pretty good-sized lawn.
Yeah. For an average.
Yeah, for an average. Whew. Right on. That's a good one. Always good to get that toast out of the way early on a Monday morning.
Yeah.
And
I'm not criticizing Justin because I blurt things out all the time on the air that are just outrageous. And if I had to come up with a number just like that.
Gets tense.
Yeah, right.
Every now and again, I still come across something on Twitter, or as it's now called, X, that strikes my fancy or that catches my eye. And this is today's back crap crazy tweet that I'm reading. It's from an account called Coach Bruce. Coach Bruce describes himself as a neuroscience PhD, angel investor, DM for podcast bookings. He's got 215,000 followers. Now listen to this quote. And we were speaking earlier on the show about the top American rock albums of all time. And as you do when you start talking about music, sometimes we're like, oh, that's nonsense. That's ridiculous. You don't know what you're talking about. Lists on music are just there to cause arguments. This is from again, neuroscience PhD. Here's what he writes. None of my intelligent, and in parentheses, 130 plus IQ. None of my intelligent friends listen to music regularly. They only listen selectively and rarely, for example, at a business event or a classical piece, but almost never listen spontaneously in their own time. This has been a long-term, consistent observation, but today confirmation came in. A new meta-analysis showed time listening to music per day increases exponentially with a lower IQ, with a drop-off to near 0 minutes at 145 plus IQ. Music is mostly appealing as a way to fill an otherwise vacant mind that has no interesting thoughts and minimal goal-directed behavior. Intelligent people find stimulation from thinking about problems and doing things, not from simply marinating in vaguely pleasant sounds like a soggy potato sitting in oil in a dirty oven tray.
Shut the up.
For the record, Coach Bruce misspelled marinating.
Perfect.
He put a D in place of a T, so I retweeted it with the correct spelling of marinating.
Duh.
Simply.
Great.
See, women, what happens when you don't sleep with men?
See, this is where it leads.
This is where it leads.
Here comes the word for you. Shut the up.
He's got thousands of responses and replies. And then he goes on, people hate scientific findings because it threatens their ego.
Yes.
Okay, whatever, dude.
I see. Yeah, just leave the music to us, and you guys just figure out how to destroy the planet with AI faster, please.
Yeah. As a neuroscientist, there's nothing I love more than showing people both the beauty and brutality of science. The elegance of the scientific method is it does not care what you think. You either prefer the truth and the data presented, or you prefer your own ego over truth. Oh, I don't know what to do, but I don't know how to. Would someone touch me?
2 words, atomic wedgie.
Yeah,
he
man.
needs one. Yeah, he got one a long time ago. It's still bothering him that I'm smart, I'm brilliant. Why don't people like me? 'Cause you're an asshole.
That's pretty great.
Yeah,
None of my intelligent friends listen to music regularly.
What do you think he listens to?
I think he listens to his own voice.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Or he listens to his own voice, or he listens to a recording of his mother telling him why he'll never succeed over and over and over and over.
Oh, that's just wound awful tight.
Man, that's pretty great. I love a guy that just gets on there and explains why we're so stupid. My buddy Stephen Hayden, who is a great music writer and critic, he retweeted it and wrote, "I'm not just a music listener, I'm a music critic, so I'm extra stupid." That's fantastic.
I hope that Egghead has one of those rosebud moments where he's just dying, just about ready to flatline, and he hears some AC/DC from across the hallway in someone else's room and goes, "Wait, what's that? Oh my God, that's amazing!"
Oh man,
changes his life, but too late.
Yeah.
That's. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine just sitting around? Having to hang out with this guy, being forced into a dinner party situation or something with this guy. I would, actually.
I'd like to talk to you about my medications.
First of all, I'd get drunk.
Man, it's fantastic. Nothing like a neuroscience PhD to come in and really set the party on fire, huh?
Yeah, wow.
What'd you do for the 4th of July? Well, I didn't sit around and watch fireworks, I can assure you. I wouldn't waste the time. There's nothing about a communal experience of 100,000 people at the riverfront watching fireworks that interests me on any level. Douchebag.
Yeah, no kidding.
Congratulations. So for the 4th of July, I did see not in person. I did watch some fireworks. The drone thing is really, it's pretty out there, pretty incredible. The drone shows now, all the things.
All the choreographed drones.
Just drones in the air that it shows, like you're looking in the sky and you see an American flag and then blink and then you see you like an elephant, and then you see like a spaceship, and then you see my 4th grade teacher, oddly enough, and then you see just amazing what they're doing with these drone shows.
Yeah,
it's like spectacular. It's super crazy. I did not get out and watch fireworks in person, but yeah. Anyway, I did see a bunch of stuff. But there was plenty of things that we can look back on over the weekend and celebrate. For every mishap with a firework, at least there's a car flying over a cliff somewhere as a crowd of people awaits at the bottom for the destruction. Let's talk about launching cars off cliffs. Hang tight.
The KQ Morning Show is back, and we always want to hear from you. Call or text 651-989-ROCK. 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good Monday morning. It is July the 8th. When I was in college, I went to Western Kentucky. My brother Dave was a student there at the same time, and he had a buddy who had an idea, and he swore it was going to be the greatest idea ever. And he said, this is in the early 80s. He goes, I'm gonna start a TV channel. It's going to be called the Weather Channel. It's just going to give weather updates all day, 247. And we would laugh and go, you're an idiot. No one needs to see the weather all day long. And here's the fun part. I actually don't know if he did that, but someone did.
Yeah.
And that's a big channel. And I look back at that, I'm like, that was a really good idea. I just didn't see it. I miss out on a lot of good ideas. I hear them, and I think that's dumb. If I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, it almost always hits.
Right. Then you should invest.
But
exactly.
I did have one great idea with my brother at the time, and we never followed through, and I will forever regret this. And we noticed in the penny trader, like the little classified ads thing, there's a little free weekly thing you'd see. There was always a car for $100, $150, and it would say, runs great, just looks terrible. Like you could buy a functioning automobile for a couple $100. You could buy a bunch of them. And my brother and I had this thing. We'd go, we should buy one, drive it around for a few days, get some use out of it, and then we'll take it to the quarry and we'll just drive it off the cliff. Like we'll rig it so we'll jump. We'll just put it in drive and put a brick on the gas pedal and get out of the way and just watch it soar off and smash down into the rock quarry on the outskirts of town. And we talked about it for years, and we never did it. And I always am like, why didn't we do that? It would have just been, you just tell some friends, be at the quarry, we're going to throw a car off the cliff. And it would have been a huge hit.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully, in Glacier View, Arkansas, for 20 years in a row now, some smart people like me have been doing just that. For 4th of July, they don't do fireworks. They literally fly cars off of a 300-foot cliff down a huge, side of a mountain. And at the base of the mountain, hundreds of people gather. They pay $20 to be there, and they just watch cars come flying off. You know, it's same thing. There's no one in the car, but they just set up at the top of this hill, and people just rig these cars to go really fast, and they just fly off the cliff, and then they crash. They come rolling down, blast into a million pieces, and at the bottom of the hill, there's like a pond, just a small body of water, and the cars, if they really get going fast, they will land right there at the edge of the water. But as they're falling down the side of this mountain, they're blasting into millions of pieces. You know, they're falling all over, and the place just goes nuts. And I'm watching footage of this, and all I'm thinking is, we could have totally done this. It just should have been our holiday.
You could make this into a 24-hour television, because I sat there through the entire free tune doing the same thing. This is a school bunch. Little audio from the Alaska car launch. This is General Lee. I mean, it doesn't do it justice, the sound effect.
Cool.
But it is cool. But they did launch a bus. I went for the General Lee because that was a splashdown. That one made it all the way to the water. You know, I know some friends that moved to Alaska. I've been to Alaska. It seems to me that Alaska is full of people that got off the couch and did it. You know, that not only talked about it, but they got off the couch and just did it.
Exactly.
That state is filled with those folks. I love it.
It's
good hang time.
the people that end up in Alaska, not unlike people in the Caribbean, they're running from something or they're being chased. I mean, someone's running after them, but they got to get away.
Pretty good chance that that's right. Yeah, I know one buddy that had it up there that... in fact, he came back years later. I'm like, oh, you're allowed down back in the States? He's like, yeah, it turns out I was never wanted for that. Because that thing got all cleared up. But he goes, I had a good time up in Alaska.
That thing, now I'm not going to give any details, but when I say that thing, you know what I'm talking about. That thing wasn't that big a deal.
No.
Everybody, it's I've never been to Alaska. It's the one and I've really never been to Hawaii either. I was at the airport for a few hours. That doesn't count. So I've been in all 48, but not Alaska or Hawaii.
Traveled the globe, but Alaska and Hawaii is a slam dunk. Do them both, man.
I need to. I really do. I got friends that do a fishing. Every August, they go to Alaska, and I'm like, they've never invited me, and I don't want to invite myself. I'm like, guys, seriously? Every year, I'm like, that sounds amazing.
You're right, Steve. It is.
And of course, but they know me, and they're like, "Yeah, he'd last an hour, and then he'd be bored." Like,
I'm cold.
Just just dig up an old Game Boy with Tetris. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just give me something to do. So if you're more traditional, like so many of us are for 4th of July, if you don't want to throw cars off cliffs, well, I don't know what's wrong with you. But if fireworks is your thing, or just firecrackers, like a lot of us, you probably had a good time. Maybe you watched the kids or the grandkids work some sparklers, a little safe there, not too dangerous. Maybe the teenagers were shooting each other with bottle rockets. Always fun.
Yeah.
Always fun.
Mm-hmm.
In South Carolina, however, a 4th of July party Thursday night, it did take a truly tragic turn.
Yeah.
A gentleman in Summerville, South Carolina, was having a good time out in the street, out in the old cul-de-sac, launching off not firecrackers, but full-on fireworks of some sort. He was wearing a large top hat, and at some point, this guy, who's 41 years old, decided to put a firework on top of his top hat and then light it. And people that were witnessing were like, "Hey, don't do that. Don't put that on your head." Yeah. And he laughed them off, and he lit the firework. And this was not apparently a 911 call of, "Oh my God, this guy, a firework, rush, get over here." No, the 911 call was, our friend just killed himself. He all but blew his head off.
That's where you need a buddy to tackle you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so worried about this going poorly that I'm actually going to take you out here.
This is multiple witnesses. This is like family, a bunch of people in the street. And a guy put a large firework of some sort that he'd purchased on his top hat and lit it, and it did the job for him. Huh. Man, you talk about really, truly changing 4th of July for everybody in the neighborhood forever.
That killed the party, I bet.
Yeah, it it killed the party and the gentleman.
A wife said he started drinking at 6 p.m. and was steady at it until this happened sometime after 10 o'clock, and she thinks he was trying to show off. Well, yeah, we know why he was doing it. Drunk, stupid. Thought he had enough buffer there between the top hat and the firework, but no.
The lesson, as always, by the time you're 4 or 5 hours into heavy drinking and you've got a lighter in one hand and a firework in the other, whatever you're thinking, don't. That's it. No. Just don't do it.
Nope, don't do it.
As long as we're talking about really fun stories that are actually anything but. We've talked about some shark attacks. We've talked about a guy blowing his head off with a firework. How about this? A 25-year-old gentleman in Israel was swimming recently in the Sea of Galilee, which sounds like a place you might want to go swimming, a freshwater lake in northern Israel. He picked up a deadly single-celled organism, an amoeba, that got into his brain. We've heard about this every couple of years. There's the Naegleria fowleri, I believe is how you pronounce it. But it's the brain-eating amoeba that gets in freshwater lakes. It destroys brain tissue. And occasionally it does. You do hear about this in U.S. bodies of water. But this happened again over the weekend, 25-year-old. I am terrified of the brain-eating amoeba because every time you hear about it breaking out somewhere, I'm always like, well, I would have jumped in that water. Yeah. I bet that would have been a nice, cool, refreshing way to get out of the summer heat.
Oh, yeah. It's happened here in the United States, I know. I don't think ever in Minnesota that I believe. But, yeah, it happens. Yeah, I love lakes. I'll jump in any lake, anywhere, anytime, I think. But, yeah, and it's so random. You know, it'll happen in Florida. It'll happen. We're hearing about one in Israel now. And you just never know when you're going to get that brain-eating amoeba.
Well, it is on the rise, and in fact, the 3 states that scientists in America say have seen the biggest rise: Missouri, Indiana, and yes, Minnesota.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Son of a gun.
Yeah, you got to watch it. I mean, I say you got to watch it as if you can watch it. There's no way to know what's happening here.
I got to think that the amoeba would pass on my brain. Kind of like fast food. Look for something better. Like, maybe a snack, but I'm going to keep moving.
Yeah, it's kind of like, there's that thing, like if you and I and some other folks found ourselves like let's say like that rugby team down in the Andes Mountains. If we're somewhere, you're the last guy people are going to want to eat. You're sinewy, you don't have a lot of extra meat on your bones.
Yeah, it's just
it's just like
the crap I put in my body.
Yeah.
No, you don't want this. There's no nutritional value.
You're the safest guy there. We're not going to put you out in your sleep. So and the amoeba is the same way. It's going to be like that. There's nothing in that brain worth eating.
No.
It's already gelatinous goo.
It's all that music I listen to.
But that is the kind of thing. I don't think of myself as being a guy with phobias or too many fears, but I will think about like that, the randomness of that. Like 6 people jump in a lake and 1 person gets the brain-eating amoeba. It's like, what? That's not cool, man.
The odds.
That's not how it's supposed to be. I'm looking at a list. Men's Health Magazine has put together a list of things that men are the most afraid of. Now, obviously, 99% of men say they're terrified of snakes. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Only 3%. I'm one of those 3. I assume everybody's terrified of snakes. I'm always amazed when people don't react to a snake. I'm like, what? Are you blind? And then I have to remind myself, no, that's just me. I'm just that idiot.
You're evil.
Yeah, they're creepy. I wouldn't say terrified, though. Yeah.
It's for no reason. I've never been attacked by a snake. I've never been bitten by a snake. I think I was born this way. I really don't. There's no understand. I don't understand. And of course, plenty of people have a real fear of needles, and that is something my son has. I don't have it. My wife doesn't have it. My daughter doesn't have it. Our son, from day one, that kid. You pull a needle out, man. This is a true story, tried to break through the window of a pediatrician's office once when it was time for a
How old
booster
was
shot.
he?
Wow. 6, 7.
Wow.
He jumped off that table and went to the window.
So that one's just hardwired in there. Some of these
hardwired
phobias,
in for real.
I understand phobias can be a fear of heights, claustrophobia, these sorts of things are hardwired in. It's not some
heights is for
sure.
Yeah,
not some traumatic event that happens when you're a child or something like that, but it's just you're born with it.
I never had a fear of heights ever. In fact, I loved, I'll walk out on the balcony of a high rise. I'd go to the top of the St. Louis Arch. I've been at the very top of that, and you can look literally straight down the way the angle is.
Yeah.
I'll go to the top of any big building. I've always been like, I love heights. I went to the top of the World Trade Center once. I've been in the Empire State Building. But lately, I've noticed, I don't know if you can start to get it's not a fear of heights, but I'm very aware now. Like if I'm on a balcony that's a certain height or something, I definitely don't feel the need to look over the side anymore.
No.
I used to want to do that all the time. And I was there was a building once that had it's like a skywalk around the outside, like 100 stories up. And there was one section of the little platform that was glass. And so you could walk out on the glass and look straight down, like past your feet. And I, of course, went to do it. This is back in like 2008. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And I took 2 steps out and I had like this is really not cool at all.
Yeah.
I was surprised at myself because a younger me wouldn't have cared. I don't know what it is. Maybe I don't know, maybe once you have kids or maybe once you just stop being an idiot, you're like, this is not normal. I shouldn't be 100 stories off the ground looking straight down.
Yeah.
But yeah, the heights thing is coming on. I can kind of feel it. I did the Hancock Tower with my daughter in Chicago a few years ago.
Yeah.
And there's a thing where you're up at the observation deck and you can step into this window that then leans forward. So you're holding on and it leans forward so you get an angle and you're looking straight down. And we did it. And there's a photo of me and Marley doing it and we're all smiles. And I damn near soiled myself. I was like, this is everything I could do just to not let her know I was freaking out. And we got back from that and I'm like, what am I doing? What's happening to me? So I maybe you can start to get a little freaked out as you get older.
Because you didn't have it, you developed that one. That's odd because you weren't born with it, but maybe it's like an allergy because nothing traumatic happened to you. You didn't have a near miss fall or something weird like that. Just kind of coming on. Maybe you're just getting smarter. Who knows?
Something's telling you that something's coming. Maybe just be more cautious.
Or you could go with that
Something's
kooky
ahead.
explanation.
It could be that. What about, you know what else people are hardwired in is the sight of blood freaks people out.
Yeah.
I have a nephew who none of his siblings are, but like he can't donate blood. Like if he sees blood, he faints. He just completely goes out. And everyone's like, what the hell's that all about?
Yeah, my mom's Annie Lane. We can't talk about blood. Don't even bring it up, and I'm like, so that's, as a kid, all you ever wanted to bring up around Annie Lane was blood. But yeah, you can't even say it. She's so freaked out.
Give her
by
a
it.
nice juicy steak.
Yeah, mom's like, I remember I stepped on a nail one time. I came in, my foot was bleeding at the bottom of your foot. Ouch. Yeah. Owie. That's a tough one. I'm sure I was just screeching when I came hopping into the house. Annie Lane's visiting, and Mom, there is her favorite, firstborn, always is, Steve. The first. So
I've been told.
There I am, hopping, in pain, in distress. She doesn't know exactly what's happened. There's blood everywhere. And all she gets, your Annie Lane's in here. Go outside. First of all, there's something about bleeding on Mom's floors. They never like that. You're going to get blood everywhere. And the other thing was Annie Lane was over, and she'll be bothered by it. Freaking nail to the bottom of the foot, Mom.
If you want your child to mention blood to Aunt Elaine, I can imagine there's no better way to make that happen than to say, don't mention blood to Aunt Elaine.
That's all we thought about was, how we could work the word blood in.
That's a seed that's planted very deep but with great moisture and plenty of sunlight too. How about this? 13% of men said they do still have recurring nightmares of their teeth falling out. I do, not recurring as in like every week or every month, but a couple times a year, I full on wake up from a dream where my teeth were just falling out. And I have like 600 teeth in those dreams. They just keep coming.
Dream analysis will tell you that's a fear of aging.
Yeah, I have been told it's a fear of it's you're evolving, you're at a growth period, something new, as in you're giving up your baby teeth and it's time for the adult teeth to come in. It's a reference as that, but I'll take fear of aging, sure. Fear of aging for $200, Alex. But yeah, no, I still get those a couple times a year. I get those, and I get I'm in an airplane and it's trying to take off. I'm on the plane. The pilot's going, we're just looking for a place to... And the plane's going fast down the road, or it's off the ground, but there are power lines all above the plane. And I'm always on this plane, and I can see that there are power lines, and we're just waiting for a place to clear where he can then accelerate up and gun the plane up past the power lines. I don't know what that one means at all.
Well, we're going to have to get a dream interpreter on. I don't know. What's your fear, Tony? You've got to have a fear.
I don't really, but I am a little bothered by heights. It makes me a little jittery.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah, but I'm not paralyzed by it. I'm not going to be. We were out one time up the gorge up in Jasper National Park in Canada, and they have a gorge up there in one of those, much like the Grand Canyon, where you go out you go out on the glass walk, like you were talking about, Stephen. You look down, and there was a young man there in his 20s that I don't know if he didn't know if he was afraid of heights, but he got out there and collapsed. Right. And he went down, and he would not move. And his family was trying to move him, and he was panicking and freaking out. And I started walking away. The person I was with was like, "Why don't you help?" I'm like, "Well, all right, I don't want to get involved."
If I've seen that happen, complete paralysis from height fear. Wow. And it happened, funnily enough, on the roof of my own house, and it happened to my wife.
Oh.
My wife has a tremendous fear of heights.
Well,
born with it. And before that ever happened, before she ever had anything like that, just a general, like, you got to be kidding me height thing. I always thought, that's just in your head. Like, come on. I took her on a gondola to the top of a mountain once. Yeah. Big mistake. But she kind of white knuckled through it. But I was like, see, it'll be better next time because I'm an idiot.
I'm going to cure your fear.
I'm an idiot, and I'm not recognizing. She doesn't want this to be the case. She just can't help it. So we had a house. Our house in Atlanta was an A-frame little bungalow, a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath little house in Midtown Atlanta, 1 story tall. And I was up there on the roof for some reason, put the ladder up against the back, climb on the roof. I guess I was cleaning out the gutters or doing something. And I heard some footsteps on the ladder, and I look, and she just popped up, and she goes, "Hey, I'm just going to get up here and see what I think. And I said, are you sure? Because she goes, yeah, I'll be fine. And I go, all right. And I walk over and I kind of help her get the last step. And we walk on. It's an A-frame, kind of steep, but not crazy.
Yeah.
And we just, I said, just hang on to me. And I walk her up to we're at the very apex of the roof, safest place to be. And again, it's a single-story home. And she gets there and she goes, okay. And she looks across the street and sees our neighbor's house and sees from that view. And she literally, like the guy said, she collapsed. She literally just fell down like a sack of potatoes, and she could not move.
Fire department?
That's when it was in that exact moment I did recognize then, like, okay, this is not in her head. I mean, it is, but it's real. There's no fixing this. There's no correcting it. My goal is to just never have her near a height again. And I laid down right next to her, and I was like, hey, it's okay. And she was, it was a real, I mean, she shut down for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And when she kind of came around, I was like, we're just going to scooch to the ladder, and I'm going to get on the ladder first, and then you're going to come on, and I'll just bring you down. I can't carry you down, but and it took 30 minutes to get down to the ground.
Step by step.
And the second she got down, she was like, I can't believe that happened to me. She was fine when she got on the ground. Wow. I said, no problem, no big deal. 10 minutes later, she looks at me, she goes, I'm going back up there. I said, the hell you are. No, this is done.
Breaking the ladder with a sledgehammer.
I did. I was like, no, absolutely not. And I mean, it's not, and it's the one thing I've had to tell the kids, like, we all, your family, you make fun of each other, you poke everybody's weak spots. I'm like, the height thing is not a joke. It's don't you dare have her, if you're next to a big window and there's a curtain, don't rip it open and without warning your mom. You don't want that to happen. I'll kill you if you freak this woman out. And it's like a thing. It's a real
irrational fears. And and there isn't a fix. You don't power through irrational fears. That happened to a guy out in Huron. I read in the paper, Wool City, South Dakota is near Huron. And he got up on the roof to do something, didn't realize he was afraid of heights till he got on the roof. Now, going up is usually easy, but the coming down part and looking down and getting that first foot on the ladder really freaks some people out, and that's why I mentioned the fire department. That's why it was in the paper. His wife had to call the fire department to come cherry pick him off the top of the roof.
My brother Tom used to be a cable TV installer. Like, he'd climb the pole back in the 70s. I mean, going way, way back. And he worked for a guy that did that. And then the guy had him. He said, hey, I got some, every couple times a year, we have to change out the flashing lights at the top of radio towers. And Tom said, cool. And he would do that.
That's hundreds of feet up.
100, as in like sometimes close to 1,000 feet. And he would climb that bad boy. Because you've got that flashing red light for airplanes not to hit the tower, that tower. And he has photos from it. Again, this is going back to the 70s, but he would take a camera up there, and the pictures, we'd all look at them and just like, oh my God. He didn't think twice about it, man. He'd go up there just like, and it's a whole day to change one giant light bulb because you literally climb that tower.
What if he dropped the bulb right when he was about to get up there?
Son of a...
And then you climb down. I mean, it's like both ways take hours to get up and get down.
They move a little bit. By the way, I went about 50 feet up on one of those things one time to attach we were putting up as a little radio station out in the middle of Montana. I thought, well, I can do 50 feet. And I did it, but it has all those cables attached to it, obviously, so it doesn't collapse in the wind. And
it swayed.
But it sways. It moves.
Yeah,
and, I mean, 50 feet was enough for me to go, all right, let's attach this wire and get out of here.
That's good enough. We've all got some certain fears, some of them rational, some of them irrational. I have a fear of being attacked by Danny Trejo. Go figure. And I'm not the only one. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, July the 8th. If you want to get a hold of us, 651-99-ROCK is a great way to do it. You can call and or text. And a lot of people send in text messages throughout the show, giving us a little bit of information, sometimes correcting us or answering questions we may have. And we mentioned dreams. Where a lot of gentlemen have dreams where their teeth are falling out, apparently. Someone texted in, as a dentist, my training has advised that dreaming about teeth falling out means that you're simply clenching or grinding your teeth at night.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people do that.
Oh, well, fair enough.
That's share a bed with me.
Text from Kenton. Good morning. Out of control elevator dreams. Wow. Out of control elevators. Never had that one.
No, never had that one.
Wouldn't be surprised if it sneaks its way in now, though. Thanks for mentioning that one.
I can't do things in my dreams. You know, if I'm in a fight, I haven't been a while since I've had that one, but where you can't hit the person. If I'm in a race, I can't run for some reason. You know, so there's all these things I can't do. If I'm trying to, I don't know, skydive or something like that, I can't get out of the plane. I can't find my way out of the plane. I had that one a couple of months ago.
I'll have them. I want to scream and nothing will come out.
Yeah.
It's just silent.
I wonder what that means when you can't do something.
I have all the same ones. The running is impossible.
Yeah.
When you're trying to get away from trouble and you just cannot.
Right.
You're in molasses. That's crazy to me. Those wind me up to no end. Danny Trejo, Hollywood actor, legendary character, a man who has done a lot of things. Has a great chain of taco stands out in L.A. We've had him on the show. You've had him on the show many times before I got to town. We talked with him last year about his cookbooks he's released. I mean, great guy. A very unique fellow with an incredible life story. A man who, as you mentioned earlier in the show, Zepp, was the boxing champion at San Quentin, which is as iconic a maximum security prison as this country's ever had.
Yeah.
He was the boxing champion while spending time there. And also, to your point, he was asked what weight class. He goes, weight class? No, just for the entire prison, he was the man. Danny Trejo is 80 years old, but that doesn't mean he's still not Danny Trejo. This is a guy that you'd have to be out of your mind to mess with. Just the look, just from the look of him, he's just got that face that looks like it's designed to put fear into the hearts of strangers.
Yeah, this is just a little clip from his, and I already forget again now the name of the documentary that came out about Danny Trejo some years ago. Not that long ago, I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago. A little bit clip of that.
I had a sawed-off shotgun and a hand grenade. I buried him, and I told my mom, be real careful in the backyard.
This is a guy who's seen death just to get to 16 years old. It's like the Wild West.
You're going to be a criminal. Be a criminal 24 hours a day.
All right, that Danny Trejo
was involved over the long weekend in an incident. 4th of July, he's in Los Angeles, a section of town called Sunland Tahunga. He and some friends are in their lowriders, their lowrider cars.
Yeah.
They're cruising in a 4th of July parade when suddenly somebody starts pelting these guys in their lowriders with water balloons.
Punks.
They didn't throw water balloons at any of the floats, at any of the other vehicles, just Danny Trejo and his friends. They pound water balloons at them. There is a little bit of a video. You can see Danny hops out of his car off of a curb, and then he goes down and then hops back up. Why? Because a big fight broke out. He and his buddies who were hit with water balloons jumped out and started throwing hands with the person responsible, I suppose. By the time the police got there, it had died down. No arrests were made. But what kind of person throws water balloons at Danny Trejo and his friends in their lowriders?
You're bringing water balloons to a machete fight. Don't do that.
Yeah, pretty much. Danny talking about it afterwards, not feeling great about how it went.
I'm so sad that I behaved the way I behaved. I'm so sad that grown men got to throw water balloons. I don't think I would have even got out of the car if somebody hadn't yelled, "It's acid." I immediately got out to look at the hood, and then when I got out of the car, I looked, boom, then a balloon hit me, and then I looked up and I see a guy. I don't know what in the hell is wrong with you. So when he grabbed me, I stepped back and I fell off the curb. I'm sad. Yeah. I'm just sad that there's still people like from the 50s and 60s that still feel the same way because no one else was targeted.
Come on, you got a classic lowrider in a parade. That's the last thing you want is to get water on it.
I would be embarrassed. I attacked an 80-year-old man, and he's still talking and laughing.
I can think of a lot of things I'd rather have that I would rather not have. I mean, water's really not the worst.
It's just waxed, man. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Beat up.
And then Danny said, I'd be feeling bad if I attacked an 80-year-old man and he was still walking around.
Hey, man, don't throw water on my car. Put that chili on the hood. There's other things that are worse than water.
You mentioned Danny Trejo is now 80, turned 80 this year, you know. And I think if I'm going to go out and I'm going to throw some water balloons, I'm probably as worried about who's running with Danny Trejo.
Of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm young and cocky enough to think, hey, I can take an 80-year-old guy. I couldn't take an 80-year-old Danny Trejo. I know that. But maybe I'm young and dumb enough. But I got to believe that he's running with a pretty tough crowd.
1987, me and my roommate, we had an apartment in Atlanta, Georgia on the third. It was a 3-story apartment building, and we were on the 3rd floor with a balcony that overlooked a street called North Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. And we went to see Mojo Nixon and Skid Roper at the Metroplex one night, and walked out of there just fired up with punk rock fervor and anger towards the man and all the things you feel after seeing Mojo Nixon. And we went back to the apartment, and it's like 2 a.m, and we're just watching the occasional car drive by. Again, we're on a 3rd floor balcony overlooking the street, and one thing leads to another, and suddenly we've got some water balloons with us. We had balloons, we had a sink. These things happen.
Yeah.
So we had a little stockade of water balloons. And at some point we look and we see a Mercedes convertible coming down. And from the stoplight, it's lit. We can see it's 2 dudes. And by this time, it's 3 a.m. And we're like, oh, this will be great. Look at these yuppie douchebags. We're going to, And so we grab our water balloons. And as the car goes by, we both launch them up. And then we kind of duck behind the railing so you can't see. And one of them just hits the hood of the car. We hear it. Doosh.
All right.
And we're laughing. And the car comes to a stop. And we hear the doors open. And a guy is immediately screaming at the top of his lungs, "Get down here. Let's go. I saw you. I'll kill you." Screaming at 3 a.m. Furious. And we're laughing. We're like, this is great. This is so funny. Oh, my God. I can't believe this is happening. The guy, and then the dude keeps yelling, gets out. He's out of his car. The passenger also gets out of the car, but we hear the passenger going, "Dude, just let's go."
That's a water balloon.
He's going, no. He's going, let's go. And then the guy screams, "You throw a bottle at my car, you're going to pay for it." And we're like, oh, he thinks it was like a beer bottle or something, but it was just a water balloon. The door to our apartment building, the main door to enter, there's no lobby or anything like that. It's just you open, there's a stairwell. It's got a lock system that never works. And we're thinking, as long as this guy doesn't try to come in and get in, if he doesn't know where we are, we'll be fine. Well, sure enough, the guy, he runs into the building, and we're like, I wonder if he actually saw that we're up here on this balcony. We walk back into the apartment, and we hear him clomping up the stairs, 2 at a time.
Creepy.
And this guy comes all the way right to our door, and he is pounding on the door.
You better fill up another balloon.
He's pounding on the door. And at this point, we realize this is not some yuppie banker dude. This is a crazy person. Like, he's out of his mind. And we just stand right inside the door, like, not saying a word. And then he finally turns, and we hear him go back downstairs. Doesn't get in his car. He starts. There's a construction lot across the street with gravel. He starts picking up gravel things and hurling them up, and hitting. And he hits a window of the apartment next to us.
Weird, dude.
And so we're like, dude's out of his mind.
3 o'clock in the morning. He's probably drunk.
Yeah. Randy, my roommate, runs over and grabs another water balloon. And I'm like, no. And throws that one.
Doubles down.
Now there's no doubt what balcony the water, because he sees his arm fly over the thing. Here he comes again. This time, this
Randy.
guy, by the way, this is all 1,000% true. And my friend, who's now a college professor, can call in to verify. Doesn't knock on the door the second time. He kicks. 1, 2, and on the 3rd kick, the door literally splits down the middle, and a foot comes through.
No,
I kid you not.
Better than an axe.
The door, the door the side of the door that's got the hinges, and then there's the side of the door with the bolt and the chain.
God.
It splits in half like saloon doors, and it just opens up.
What are Randy and Steve doing?
Well, Randy is panicking and freaking out. I picked up
the guy that threw the second balloon.
Yeah. And I'm at this point like, okay, we're about to die. The guy steps through those doors. We've jumped back into the main living room, and he's got nunchucks, and he's swinging them like a video for a martial arts school, and he's screaming at the top of his lungs, and he's going, "It's on now, it's on now." And I recognize his friend is behind him going, "Dude, his friend is trying to talk him down, but the guy's completely out of his mind.
Yeah.
He literally splits our door in half, steps through, and is doing a nunchuck thing. And I pick up a baseball bat, and I'm terrified, but my fear has now turned into, well, I'm going to die if I do something.
Time to make a stand,
I'm
man.
holding a large bat, and I'm going, "Let's go, mother!" I'm doing the whole thing, and I'm saying, "Bring it, let's go." And I'm thinking, one of us is dying here.
Yeah.
And then Randy he's literally, "I'm calling the police," and he's freaking out. And the guy's friend finally has him like in a chokehold. He's like, "Dude, we have to go."
Yeah.
And this guy steps back through the door that he just destroyed, backwards, pointing the whole time. "I'm coming back. This isn't over." And then they turn and they run downstairs and they jump in their car and they peel out of there. It was the most insane thing. And like within 2 minutes, there's a cop who shows up, and I'm like, "Randy, there's like 9 water balloons on our porch. We're not getting out of this one." Right. But the cop shows up, and he's like, "What the hell happened?" We try to explain it, and he goes, "What did you guys do?" "Nothing. We don't know anything." It's just a guy. He has a Mercedes convertible, and literally the cop is standing there, and he looks over and he goes, "Have anything to do with those water balloons?" and we're both like, The cop's just like, yeah. But so anyway, it's by the time the cop leaves, it's almost 4:00, and we can't go to sleep. We don't have a door. And the guy knows where we live. He can come back.
Now he's coming back with a shotgun.
You want to move.
And it's a Saturday night, and we live in the kind of apartment. It's not like the manager's around on Sunday. We have to wait until Monday to get the door replaced. And then we have to cook up we tell the story without our involvement in it. Completely insane. Anyway, never underestimate the furor of a water balloon.
Wow.
Danny Trejo and this coked up banker.
Fear the yuppie.
Man, it was intense.
A water balloon, that really escalates the fight, doesn't it?
You can also, if you really want to piss somebody off and you find yourself in Wisconsin, just throw cheese at them. No, I'm not making that up. In Eau Claire, Wisconsin, someone called the police because there was someone in Eau Claire throwing cheese at cars. This is just what they were doing. The police in Eau Claire put out an APB for a cheese tossing miscreant. Last Monday night, the victim said it felt like someone was trying to chase them down, and then that person threw cheese at their vehicle.
Take their cheese crimes over in Wisconsin very seriously. Tony Lee over here, big fan of puns, loves them. This news report is for you. Here you go, buddy.
Police in Eau Claire state they responded to the most Wisconsin complaint ever. On Monday night, officers checked out a report of someone chasing a driver down and throwing cheese at their car. Police called the complaint not Gouda, and it's unbelievable that someone would do that.
Stop it.
The department ended the post by writing, "Throwing cheese is not your best look, Eau Claire." No, that's not cheesy at all.
All right, he gets a water balloon in the face.
Oh, yeah, right there.
Full of acid. This every freaking summer now. I don't know how many years this goes back, but it's a big thrill over there, I guess, to be cheesing cars going by. You hear that. Somebody's car out in the parking lot here, I guess a few summers ago. I feel like this started during the pandemic. They came out and there was 300 slices of cheese plastered to the the old Kraft singles or Velveeta or whatever.
Just melty.
Yeah, just plastered all over the person's car, and they called the cops, and there was a big investigation. I'm like, it's just a prank. Calm down. Yeah. But it's summer's here now in earnest. They're out cheesing the cars in Wisconsin.
Tony Lee, destroyer of puns. You said that. I looked over. I was like, I didn't know Tony liked puns. And of course, on his face, he's like, I hate puns. I hate puns.
Yeah, he does.
Man, that's tough. That's great.
I mean, this guy's he's a comedy writer, for crying out loud. Puns. That's
cheap.
That's low-hanging fruit.
It is. That is the lowest hanging of all the spoiled fruit there is on the comedy tree. The pun.
Oh, the complaint not Gouda, and it's unbelievable that someone would do that. The department ended the post by writing, "Throwing cheese is not your best look, Eau Claire."
The pun people are so proud of themselves, too, when they lay down a pun.
News guys, they deliver it the best. They give it that little, it's not your best look.
That is unbelievable. Did you see what I said there? I took brie, which is a French soft cheese, and I said believable instead of believable. Man. Yeah, I'm with you now. Never even really thought about it. I hate puns. Mm-hmm. They're not punny at all.
Not punny.
No.
The KQ Morning Show is back. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good Monday morning. It is July the 8th. I was on the road over the 4th of July week, if you will. A couple of long road trips. Thanks to the Waze app, I avoided state troopers, or at least I avoided speeding as I passed state troopers. No shortage of them in Wisconsin, of course, both in and out. A lot of troopers over there looking to get a guy like me all caught up in a hot box, in a jackpot, trying to jam me up. But it's nothing quite like dude in France. Check this out. A gentleman who drives a Porsche in France was doing 188 kilometers per hour. That's over 100 miles per hour on a road southwest of Montpellier, so down in the southwestern part of the country. He was on an 80 kilometers per hour speed limit road. He was doing 188. So for don't worry about how that translates to miles per hour. Just know that 188 is 100 over 80.
Yeah, you're zipping along. You got one of them
moving it.
Porsches.
French police used a speed radar to see that this was happening. They notified a unit up ahead in the road and said, there's a Porsche coming towards you. He's going 188 kilometers per hour. The gendarmerie, they signaled to stop him, but he just kept going. He just was not about to stop at a... he's like, yeah, go ahead, sit there all you want, wave your lights at me, but I'm going to keep going where I'm going.
Are they driving one of those little French, what are they, Renaults or something like that?
Probably.
4-cylinder?
Probably. They were unable to chase him down or even get his license plate, but they wrote down in their report the car, it was a bright green Porsche 911. So it was kind of easy to identify. It's a sparsely populated area. Not a lot of bright green Porsche 911s going along. There's only one guy in town who drove in the area with a bright green Porsche 911. Word was out. They were looking for him. He turned up to explain to the police it could not have possibly been me because his car was now gray. My man painted his car to avoid the ticket.
Spray paint.
Different freaking car. Well, I guess he had to show up in the car because they said you own one.
Yeah.
You can't borrow your buddies and not show up in that. They want to see the Porsche that you own, but this one's gray. I see.
I don't know what the ticket was going to cost, but a proper paint job on a Porsche ain't cheap.
Thousands. Would be thousands of dollars if he had a proper paint job.
No, go to Mako.
Leave the windows down. They'll paint you too.
There are flames on my car. I go right to the in-laws with every car painting reference we ever make.
And if it's a lousy paint job, that gives it away just as much. So apparently he didn't get away with it.
I don't know what they do in France, but I do know there are countries in Europe where their speeding tickets, they don't have a set fee.
Sweden.
In Sweden's one. In Finland last year, a man named Anders Wickloff was doing 51 miles per hour in a 30 zone. 51 in a 30 on a road along on the Åland Islands. That's an archipelago in the Baltic Sea. It's part of Finland. They penalize motorists by fining them based on their income. This gentleman is a multimillionaire, and he had to pay a fine equal to 14 days of his income, which came to $130,000.
Oh, my God.
Speeding ticket, $130,000.
Maybe I would paint my car. Although, it's relative. So he's, paying 130 G's and he can afford it. Although 2 week, just think of what you make now on a 2 week fine. That would bite.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'm not sure I wouldn't have to, skip one of my streaming bills or something like that for a couple of weeks.
Largest ticket ever. A Swedish driver in 2010 My man was driving a Mercedes with a disconnected speedometer. That doesn't happen without intent, by the way. Maybe, you tell me your Chevy, your Impala speedometer doesn't work, I'll believe you. A Mercedes speedometer works unless you don't want it to work.
Yeah.
He was caught in Sweden. Check this out. A gentleman was doing 125 in a 20.
Uh-oh.
That's a sensational speeding ticket. He was fined $1.2 million. Again, based on his income and the speed, a $1.2 million speeding ticket.
What in the hell, man?
Hey,
if you're speeding around and you've got $1 million, you're like, yeah, I'm probably about $1 million over right now. I don't know. I get one of those little radar things or something like that.
Can you imagine constantly looking at your speedometer and factoring in the hundreds of thousands? What if I get ticketed right now? 700 gur. Yeah. I would imagine that the lesson is learned by your fellow Swedes. Don't speed.
Yeah, or maybe this guy is so filthy, ridiculous rich that he just wanted to see if he could get the record for the highest fine in Sweden.
No word yet on whether that was the guy from ABBA or IKEA, but I hope it was one of the two of them.
Conversely, I wonder if you're making, what if you're unemployed and you're out speeding?
You're paying like 62 cents, yeah.
Yeah, right.
No, that's equal opportunity, 14 days of your income.